Hey, what's up guys, Rev here. So it's been a very entertaining couple of days where the entirety of the internet has come together to collectively mock two senior writers over at Kotaku who are currently having a very public meltdown over a Nintendo blacklist. Now you're looking at images like this and you're probably wondering to yourself, how did we get here, right? How did we get to a point where a senior writer at Kotaku is posting a very anti-Japanese racist image and directing it at Nintendo? Well, as it turns out, this is all over the fact that Nintendo refused to give Kotaku early access to the upcoming Zelda game. That's right, that is all it took. And honestly, this story has a lot of twists and turns, and we're going to get into all those details soon enough. But a lot of people have been looking at this moment and saying this is the end of Kotaku and they're going to be filing for bankruptcy soon, much like Vice did a few days ago. Now, a lot of people naturally comparing Vice news to Kotaku, and you know what? I get it. I love laughing at journalists as much as the next guy and celebrating their downfall, particularly gaming journalists. But I think there's a key difference between Vice News and Kotaku, and it's that Vice News had its glory days, right? There was a time where tens of millions of people all across the world respected Vice News and its journalists, including myself. And then they fell off and became a joke over the past couple of years. The difference between them and Kotaku is that Kotaku never fell off because they've always been bad. They've been a laughing stock of the industry for many, many years. And that's not surprising because their entire business model reflects that of a humiliation fetish, where they post intentionally inflammatory and unethical articles for the sole purpose of rage clicks, where they hope a user will visit their website just long enough to generate a fraction of a penny of ad revenue. But this whole story actually begins a few days ago, and it does not begin with Luke, rather it begins with another senior reporter at Kotaku, Ethan Gooch. So Gooch was very upset about the fact that Kotaku couldn't get its hands on a pre-release of the upcoming Zelda Tears of the Kingdom game, which is set to release on May 12th. So Gooch made this tweet on April 26th, saying it's preview day for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, a huge game I would love for Kotaku to be able to inform its millions of readers about firsthand. Unfortunately, Nintendo still has it blacklisted from advanced coverage, a move I would argue is both unprofessional and coercive. Well, right off the bat, Gooch, this entire tweet is unprofessional. You're basically trying to guilt trip Nintendo publicly into letting you have early access. Now, I guarantee, without having to know the brains of Nintendo, there's very good reason they blacklisted you, okay? Nintendo has plenty of faults as a company that you can point out, but I don't think it's any sort of an issue that they blacklisted Kotaku because their track record is horrible. And anyone from the industry doesn't respect Kotaku. So is it surprising that Nintendo would blacklist you from early access? And again, they're trying to guilt trip by saying that they're doing Nintendo a favor, right? We're informing our millions of readers about your game. That's not how it works. Nobody is getting their gaming recommendations from Kotaku. Nobody cares anymore. Like, beyond washed up. Nobody gets it. But lo and behold, fast forward a couple of days, and on May 2nd, Kotaku released this article made by who else but the Gooch man himself. And it is an article which, of course, I'm not going to promote in any sort of a way, but it is an article filled with leaks of the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom game. These, of course, are illegally obtained, and Kotaku made this article filled with these leaks. Now, it's pretty obvious that this entire article was posted completely out of spite. That was the motivation, to get one back at Nintendo for not giving them a free copy and early release of this game. Completely unprofessional. You want to talk about unprofessional? This is the epitome of unprofessional. And honestly, if you were worried about being blacklisted before, posting illegally obtained leaks to spite a company, oh yeah, you're going to get blacklisted, not just by Nintendo, but by anyone in the related industries who notice this kind of behavior. Completely deranged behavior, and it makes Kotaku somehow manage to look worse than they already are. This was a terrible, terrible idea. You don't have to go to journalism school or know the ethics of journalism to know that this move was unethical and unprofessional. And the backlash began, as you can see by the number of quote retweets, and many other journalists in the replies calling this out for what it is, unethical. Well, there was a lot of reaction to this and a lot of people calling it out. So you have a user like this saying a Kotaku senior editor recently complained about being blacklisted by Nintendo of America pre-release coverage, so in retaliation they decided to push leaks for Tears of the Kingdom. Unprofessional and insanely petty of them. Clown website with clown editors. Pretty well said. But here's the thing. Amazingly, a good deal of backlash on this tweet because people were angry that people were taking the side of Nintendo in the situation, who does have a bad reputation, especially dealing with content creators and alike. Okay, we all know Nintendo has a very bad reputation, but you have people coming in like this, quote retweeting that last tweet saying, literally the coolest thing Kotaku could do if the games industry is going to engage in anti-press, anti-audience market manipulation by trading access for coverage. Kotaku is heroic for spreading information Nintendo doesn't like shared. Wow, that is the worst tweet I think I've ever read in my life. Kotaku is a hero. They're heroic for posting leaks out of spite because they couldn't get a free copy of a game. That's insane. So spreading information that Nintendo doesn't like shared. Yes, companies don't like when you share illegal leaks of their upcoming product. Of course they don't want that shared. It's illegal. There's a reason why that's protected. And like, how are you shocked? And engaging in anti-press, anti-audience, market manipulation. Please don't stand Kotaku, okay? Do not meat ride Kotaku. This is a situation where you're dealing with two different entities, Kotaku and Nintendo, who both have plenty of reason to dislike them, right? But that doesn't mean you elevate one to spite the other, okay? I get it. You don't like Nintendo, and that's fine. But Nintendo is entirely correct in this situation to blacklist Kotaku and to praise Kotaku and call them heroes for posting leaks out of spite. That stinks, dude. That's embarrassing. But again, more people defending Kotaku and attacking anyone approving of Nintendo's decision. You have this here saying Kotaku is doing what any reporter should do. Meanwhile, weird nerds are already attacking it because they are afraid a multi-billion-dollar company may lose a penny. I think whether or not they lose a lot of money from this is a little bit besides the point. When you have someone calling you out for being unprofessional and then turning around and posting leaks of an upcoming game they didn't get early access to, that's just embarrassing. They deserve the criticism. Kotaku deserves the criticism. And again, it's not weird nerds defending the billion-dollar company. It's people calling out a scummy journalism site for doing something that is clearly unethical. But moving on from that, we return to our good old pal Luke Plunkett's from the beginning of the video. Now, we've seen the full context. Clearly, Kotaku is very hurt by this Nintendo blacklist, and Luke was one of the people that was constantly arguing on Twitter about this whole thing, and it would escalate to the image we're about to look at. But here he is, a senior writer, so a very established position within Kotaku, and a journalist that's awfully, he thinks very highly of himself, but note that this is a professional category. He thinks very highly. He's a professional, right? So let's see how he responds to people validly supporting Nintendo's blacklist of Kotaku. He posted this now deleted image. So I don't think it really takes a history buff to understand that this is clearly a very anti-Japanese racist image and message to post, with the caption saying, "For the record, this is how I feel about publisher blacklists," which is of course directed at Nintendo, a Japanese company. I don't have to explain why this is so offensive, right? And many people look at this and go, oh my goodness, this is what they would post. They just go mask off, full on racist towards the Japanese just because they don't get a free game. Is this a manipulated tweet? Is it archived? Is it real? Well, not only is there archives of this, he actually turned around and posted it again when people called out this tweet for being racist and a very unprofessional move. Speaking of unprofessional, where this all began, by the way, and he said the absolute state of this website. So he posted this multiple times and made sure that everyone knew that this image was how he really felt about this Japanese company. And it's really something crazy. I don't know. I mean, it's still shocking to see just open racism from a senior writer at Kotaku, but it's also kind of unsurprising. This very offensive attitude towards Japan and Japanese companies is something that Kotaku has been expressing for a long time. It's just the difference is now they went full mask off. And here is the result, and people are obviously quite angry and quite offended by this whole thing, and rightfully so. And again, talking about blacklists and unprofessionalism, this is the peak of unprofessionalism, obviously. But if you're worried about blacklists, brother, your company is going to be blacklisted from everywhere. Why would any Japanese company ever want to work with you? Why would they ever want to give you, not only work with you, give you special privileges, like getting early access to future releases and free copies? Why would they ever want to do that for you when this is how you think of them? Absolutely disgusting behavior, and every sort of backlash and punishment that comes from this is completely and utterly deserved. Now, something funny that people pointed out about Luke is that this might be his villain origin story. Many years ago, his sole interaction with the legendary individual Hideki Kamiya involved Hideki asking Luke if he eats shit. That was back in 2013. That is their only interaction. That's kind of how the industry feels about Luke, and it's been no secret for basically a full over a decade at this point. That's it's enough to break any man to the point where they become some open racist working on a disgraced, terrible news site like Kotaku. But like I said, Luke has ran away and hid. He went private within the hour of making that tweet. And yeah, it is always crazy to see people with 17,000 followers try to hide behind a protection like this. I mean, I don't know what good that's going to do for you. And honestly, it just makes you look even more guilty. And if Kotaku does nothing to address this, man, I hope this outrage doesn't die. Like, how do you not get fired after saying stuff like this online? I don't know. I'm not exactly, this isn't really a cancel culture here. This is like saving face for your company when someone is acting racist towards Japanese companies. What else are you supposed to do at this point? But yeah, the downfall of Kotaku is hilarious to watch. I mean, the downfall of something that's already down is, quite the concept, but man, they really might have just ended themselves with this one. This might actually be the one that gets enough backlash to end Kotaku and put an end to their ridiculousness. But that's going to do it for this video. I know it was a lot, but share all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.